Settlement House Movement. In a way, Settlement House Movement was an offshoot of the social gospel movement. It attracted idealistic reformers who believed it was their Christian duty to improve living conditions for the poor. During the late 1800s, reformers such as Jane Addams, key term, established settlement houses, key term, in poor neighborhoods. These establishments, in these establishments, residents lived and helped poor residents, mostly immigrants. Adams, who opened the famous Hull House in Chicago in 1889, inspired many more such settlements across the country, including the Henry Street settlement run by Lillian Wald in New York City. The women who ran settlement houses provided everything from medical care, recreation programs, and English classes to hot lunches for factory workers. Their efforts helped shape the social work profession, in which women came to play a major role. Public education. As the United States became increasingly industrialized and urbanized, it needed more workers who were trained and educated. The demand for skilled workers led to a much greater focus on building schools and colleges in the late 1800s. The spread of schools. The number of public schools increased quickly after the Civil War. In 1870, about 6.5 million children attended school. By 1900, that number had risen to over 17,300,000. Public schools were often crucial to the success of immigrant children. It was there the children usually became knowledgeable about American culture, a process known as Americanization, key term. To assimilate immigrants into American culture, schools taught immigrant children English, American history, and the responsibilities of citizenship. They also tried to instill discipline and a strong work ethic, values considered important to the nation's progress. Americanization could also pose a problem for immigrant children, however, because sometimes parents worried that it would make the children forget their own cultural traditions. Not everyone had access to school. In the rush to fund education, cities were way ahead of rural areas. Many African Americans also did not have equal educational opportunities. To combat this discrimination, some African Americans started their own schools. The leader of this movement was Booker T. Washington, who founded the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama in 1881. Education for the workplace. City schools helped immigrants assimilate, and they also helped future workers prepare for the jobs they hoped would lift families out of poverty. The grammar school system in city schools divided students into 8 grades and drilled them in timely attendance, neatness, and efficiency, necessary habits for success in the workplace. At the same time, vocational and technical education in the high schools provided students with skills required in specific trades. Expanding higher education. Colleges also multiplied in the late 1800s, helped by the Morrill Land Grant Act. This Civil War era law gave federal land grants to states for the purpose of establishing agricultural and mechanical colleges. By 1900, land grant colleges were established across the Midwest. The number of students enrolled expanded rapidly in this period. In 1870, around 50,000 students attended college, but by 1890, the number had more than tripled to 157,000. Traditionally, women's educational opportunities lagged behind men's. Around this time, however, things began to change. The opening of private women's colleges such as Vassar, Wellesley, and Smith, along with new women's colleges on the campuses of Harvard and Columbia universities, served to increase the number of women attending college. Public libraries. Like public schools, free libraries also made education available to city dwellers. One of the strongest supporters of the public library movement was industrialist Andrew Carnegie, who believed that access to knowledge was the key to getting ahead in life. Carnegie donated millions of dollars towards the construction of libraries all across the United States. These libraries, as well as the various educational and social reform movements that arose in the late 1800s, helped people cope with the harsher aspects of a newly industrialized society. And that is the end of section 4. Great. Okay, here's our key terms for the chapter. Steerage, nativism, skyscraper, tenement, political machine, party boss, graft, philanthropy, realism, vaudeville, ragtime, naturalization, settlement house, Americanization. All right, let's get this uploaded.